So hello and welcome to the Dharma Life podcast. I'm your host, Aloise.life Middleton, and today I have with you a beautiful woman doing beautiful work in the world. I was so attracted to her YouTube channel. I absolutely loved the name of her YouTube channel, Ascending Souls. And then I listened to her channeled messages and I just knew that we had to get Lori-Ann on the show. So Lori-Ann is an intuitive energy healer. Welcome to the Dharma Life podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. I really am. And it's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, it's lovely to meet you too. And I was just so attracted to the work that you're doing in the world. And you're just, uplifting people with your messages and with your content. And, I knew you'd have lots of words of wisdom for our listeners. So would you mind sharing just with our audience a little bit about, who you are and what you do in the world currently?
Oh, I would love to. I'm actually, I refer to myself as an intuitive healer. So intuitive empath, psychic medium, to me, that's all about energy, but I'm equally an energy healer and a certified energy healer. But while I'm working on my PhD in metaphysical behavioral science, that's what I'm looking at. So it's the interaction of relationships on a spiritual level, on a scientific level, and the humanistic level. So, and how they intertwine with each other. So right now, currently, I have a YouTube show that I upload, I have a couple thousand videos on there, I think right now, talking about the spiritual awakening, waking up our soul, seeing beyond the veil of illusions that we've been automatically programmed to believe that aren't really real. And that's what the awakening is. And I do long distance energy healing on people, and I absolutely love what I do. A lot of readings too.
And tell me about your awakening journey and story. Like you mentioned before we got on air that your spiritual awakening is sort of similar age to myself, around kind of 28.
Yeah, that was the first go around where I had been triggered. I actually, my first love was my high school sweetheart, and he was the first recognizable soulmate in my life. And we both knew that. We both knew that we were soulmates. But through that particular 12-year relationship, we parted ways. And that's when I started going into a different path, a path where I felt like my little feelers were trying to find something to hold on to. You know what I mean? I had a very difficult time. I felt like I was blinded. A lot came through that particular portion of my awakening. But it's not that I didn't finish it. I thought maybe I didn't finish it. I did finish it. I was very awoken to everything that's going on around us, energy. I was speaking to angels and guides. I've had Archangel Michael with me and my guide with me since I was very young, 5 years old. And at the age of 8 is when I knew I was supposed to go in this direction. But through the relationships that I interacted with, I drew in a lot of toxic people. And those toxic people really challenged me to have to step up, and I became an enabler, an overgiver.
Right.
And I saw a lot of the faults that I was contributing to all the relationships. But I didn't really see all of that until about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I was triggered into it again. But I'm a true twin flame, my other half. And at that point in time, that's when I started seeing the connection, the web that's built underneath. And it was an incredible journey. For me, I didn't want to hear my angels. Now, I've always heard them my whole life. I always hear them. They're always talking to me on the right side, by the way. That's really where we want them. And through that, they wanted to tell me what I was going through. And I didn't want to hear it. So for a year, I self-medicated myself. I did everything to avoid looking back, because there was a portion of my life where I literally could not see. I didn't remember anything in that period of time.
So have you
And we
always
blocked.
been able to hear your angels
Yeah,
and guide, like from a
yeah,
young age?
yes.
So you,
And I've been giving readings. I've been giving readings since I was around the age of 12. And it's really weird. It was always older people that would come up to me, sit down next to me, stranger danger, but they would sit down next to me, tell me about their divorce. I was a kid, they're telling me everything about their life and asking me what I thought. It was really,
and how
it's
did
an
you cope
amazing
with
life.
that? Because did you have kind of psychic people in your family, or, did you know what was happening?
My mom told me that there was an aunt, I believe it was an aunt that was psychic, but we were raised in one of the larger religions where it was taboo. No, you aren't supposed to. And nobody can do that, because you have to be special. That kind of a thing. No, I just could hear them. I could hear them. I knew how to chant. I would go into a meditative state. Now, I was raised in a toxic environment where you become empathic in the sense that you see your parents, you have to know the tonality. You've got to be 5 steps ahead of the person who's
Survival.
toxic. So you know the body language, the tonality, the words, the movement. And as an empath, you feel the energy before they ever do anything. So that puts you in an automatic grown-up stage of your life. You miss your childhood when you grow up that way. I was working at age 5 for my parents, like literally taking money from people. So I was raised in an environment where I was really an adult. So I was programmed to be an enabler, a program to do that and go to school and educate. And, she always made sure that we understood the power of the mind. But the negative side of the way I grew up was the negativity associated to things that they saw. Like my mom would deny ghosts. She knew they were real, but you weren't supposed to talk about it. So it's kind of that split mind, like what everybody in this world is going through, where they see it one way, but they feel inside this way. Right?
Yes, that's such a great description. That is such a great description. And all of us have grown up like that, haven't we, really?
Yes.
Where we sense something, but we've been told you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to express it. And then we shut it down.
Exactly. And another thing that we've also been taught to do is when we meet a toxic person, and this is a big, and I know you've heard this, oh, that's just the way they are. Oh, don't pay no mind to them. That's just the way they are. Well, that's a form of enabling. And we as a society have allowed people of toxic, all it takes is one toxic person to come into a room of 10 and create so much negative drama, it can flip everybody in that room up. So one person can do that, right?
Society
so it's like 10 positive to overpower one toxic person. So I don't think I answered your question.
No, so what you're basically saying is that you only really truly stepped into what you're supposed to be doing kind of 5 years ago. Kind of, you really kind of opened the doors to it all and kind of went, okay, I'm ready now. I'm here.
I accepted it 5 years ago.
Lovely.
I accepted it 5 years ago. Yeah. I
And
knew
what
it
happened
before
when you
and I said
accepted it?
no. Pardon?
What happened when you consciously accepted it?
My life started turning around. Things started going up, 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 and then I could manifest. And if I wanted to go on a trip, I could manifest it. Because when you're in that beautiful place where a lot of us don't know how to get there. So that beautiful place is kind of like an in-between place of here on the earth and pulling in all of the magical stars and planetary alignments, the energies of the universe. And when we do this, we can bring it all here on earth and create exactly what we want. But in order to do that, you have to be in a very high vibration and moving in a direction. You don't even have to be fully in it, but moving toward what you're meant to do. So every step that you move toward what you're meant to do, you will be rewarded somehow, some way. An example, and I'm not going to say this is readily applicable for all of my clients, but the majority of my clients, when I ask them, when they invest in my working with me, they all find they don't even have a lack of money. They never lost that money in the month, which is a really good thing, because what I'm doing is letting them know that this is right for you. You see, it's like that little reward. So they spend $25 on a reading or whatever it is. And if it was of value, the reciprocity was there. I gave information in detail, and it's that reciprocity. So as we really move forward, we begin to recognize that. And as we put in the direction we're meant to, that reciprocity is going to come back to us. So it was an incredible journey, a very uplifting, and each layer, and I'm going to refer to it as layer. You know how on our calendar we call it month, we call it a quarter. These were like layers, even though they were numbers for me, but they were like layers. Like I could see these layers that needed to come off. So the veil was lifted, so to speak, but every time they would talk to me, I just sat there one day. What happened? I just sat there one day and sat down on the floor and put my glass down. I didn't want to drink, so I drank for about a year. And I don't drink. I cannot even touch a drop. It will literally make me throw up now. I am so done.
Vibration.
But they explained the entire journey, and I had two angels around my mind that was always there, and how we go through this process. And it's a journey where it's simple. You go back, and whoever hurt you in any area of your life, you need to find your accountability. You need to see why the situation happened, because it has to do with you too. So once we see that, then we can cut the ties with that and release it. It's like being anchored, a balloon being anchored to the ground. And once you cut the tie, you can just lift yourself up and move in the direction that you choose to go. The hard part is that society, the society that we live in, very judgmental. We live in a narcissistic society.
Yeah,
and it makes it very difficult.
I concur. I completely concur, because I think we're taught not to feel. We're taught not to express. Right. We're taught to, and then obviously all that stuck emotion gets lodged in our system. And if you look at it, effectively weighs you down. Like it literally holds you down and holds your vibration down. So what you're kind of saying is,
absolutely.
I sometimes get people who I work with to go through a timeline of different things that they've gone through, and then work through those emotions and journal through the emotions to release them, because effectively you're like a balloon, like you're describing, and then when we do that healing work, we rise.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And I will say that, the people that I work with, the way that I am shown how to do what I do, and I was guided to do this, and I just said, okay. And I listened, and I did exactly what I was being guided to do. And it was like, boom, 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 but like magic. It was like, whoa, not just for me, but for my clients. And it was for the clients that I was doing this, which the reciprocity comes back around into my material
service
world,
to others,
right?
we're all, I think, we're all built and set up to be in service to other people. That is our purpose. I believe, Laurie, actually, that everybody's purpose is to help raise consciousness. We just do it in our own unique
and
ways.
I believe in the universal principles, the 9 universal principles that we do practice. A lot of people practice through religions, through traditions and beliefs, do no harm to other, etc. So and I am going to do a video where I think I'm going to do that on YouTube, and I am changing the format a little bit, where I'm going to be kind of moving into more of the awakening process, sharing a lot of that information.
Talk about that. Let's talk about that, because obviously, the channel title is Ascending Souls. My podcast is all about building a life in alignment with your soul. Let's have that discussion. Like, what happened for you kind of March, April time, because it's obviously everything's being called the Great Awakening. Those of us who've been
Right.
awake for a while, we still were having, more
Right.
stuff revealed to us. So I'd love to know kind of a little bit about your journey.
It's really, yeah, absolutely. It's really crazy for me because I found myself falling into that with people. But the reason why is I have a book that I was supposed to upload in February, and I haven't even announced what happened yet, but just a matter of a period of short time, they closed my account. I'm thinking, what the hell just
On
happened?
YouTube.
what happened? No, on my ebook. I wrote a book.
They closed the account.
So as I'm getting ready to upload it, my account got shut. It locked on me. I'm thinking, what the heck happened? That was in February. That was 2 weeks before everything took place in March. So I didn't know what happened. And at that point, I saw what happened as the world changed in March. And we started reflecting, and you may have noticed a lot of people instantly stopped doing their subscriptions to things that were no longer necessary. Everybody started
Everyone
pulling, like
tightened their
we do
belts.
anytime. Yeah. Anytime we all do that, I did it too. I still am I'm usually, anyway, this is a period of time where I was really oppressed, almost pushed to look at a certain segment of my particular life that I thought was already resolved. Now, this was the family overall. This wasn't a specific person. This was the traditions and values of the way that my family would talk to each other and what they talked about growing up. I would be in rooms because my grandfather, he came from, all my family was very big. So there was always a lot of people in the room, and my grandmother was from, I had a grandmother great-grandmother, she spoke Polish, Czechoslovakian, and English in the same sentence. So you never knew what she would, but every time you went there, she had this big ham. She didn't even know you were coming. She cooked a ham, she cooked a roast beef, and it was always about eat. So my family is very much about food, and we always celebrated around food. But the thing that they would do around the food is they would talk about, back in my day, we would eat rock soup and we'd be happy with that.
It was like stuck in the past.
Exactly. They were so stuck in the past of the defeats and the success, the victory of overcoming the defeat. And that should be shared. But I felt that my whole life, the way it was presented wasn't about victory over defeat. It was about the defeat. You know what I mean? More 80% of the energy went toward the negative aspect. So the things that the wars and things like this were.
So you addressed that within your family, did you? You kind of opened that conversation within the family to heal that.
It wasn't actually healing, it was actually bragging. That's what I mean. I was drawn back to my family traditions because the way that, although many of my family members were healthy, even though my immediate family wasn't, but the traditions and values that they spoke of were very toxic. It was reminding people of the Depression and World War II, and reminding people of, you gotta save every dime and don't put that in your mouth. Money's dirty. Implanting the seed that dirty money, dirty.
Oh, I see.
I have several clients that were programmed that way, and they can't bring money into their life because they have this subconscious belief of dirty money. So while my family's talking about the past, the history of the past, you'd think it'd be really great, but when it's negative, it sticks in there on a subconscious level and it brings it forward. So even though people didn't necessarily come from a negative background and they still are going through this, they may be seeing things like that, where family were talking about their heritage and the way that it used to be and how it should be, stuck in the past.
So just so I understand correctly, so essentially you thought you'd healed that aspect, but it was brought up again for you to have a look at and readdress maybe some of the unconscious beliefs that potentially you'd carried from your family.
And through that, and through that, I really recognize that the layers are so that's what I'm saying, that I saw like several layers as I was going through my journey. So this was another layer. But for me, that was the final layer, letting go of the beliefs of what I thought it would be, what it was supposed to be. That belief, how people believe they're going to get married and stay married forever, and they divorce 2 years later, hating each other. So that anger is what people are looking, that pain, that anger, all of that. So through that particular point, I had to decide if I was going to do this. And I said, okay, I'll keep doing this. It's a lot of energy work. It's draining. You have to constantly be building up your energy, because we're moving people's energy through our words. And through this particular part, I was guided to actually do the video about a future worldwide projection. But what they had me do on March 9th, I was guided to change the color of my hair. So my hair is actually blonde. It's a dark blonde, and then it has, a little bit of gray. Shh, we don't tell. We have gray. We have a multicolored, different colors of blonde in there. And, that's my puppy. This is Captain Lovebug. He's a very big contributor to my channel. I did it purple. I did my hair purple. And when I went to the store, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And they said, this one or this one. I was guided to get both, purple and red. I didn't know what I was being guided to do. And when we stop questioning it, as long as we know it's coming on the good side and we go with it, it's going to all play out. So you just go with the flow, right? And as you go with the flow, you're going up the hill, you're building, you're planting seeds for something a year out, and you don't even know what you're doing or why you're doing it. But when we are listening to that inner voice, to that angel, whoever is listening to this particular segment, if it is of the positive direction and it feels right inside of you, that's the key to know if it's right for you, right? So through there, they were guiding me to do these things. And I had made a worldwide projection last November, which actually is playing out. And those hair color changes, which you see right now, so I don't like my hair. All of my hair changes have to do with the worldwide projections. So it's going to come back around, and I'll be doing a video on that on my YouTube channel. And I'm actually being guided to do that particular video the latter part of this week or the first of next week. So it'll be within the next, 10 days.
So let's
we're going to talk about why.
Yeah, let's talk about kind of October, because I know October is being, what's the word? People are saying, strap in, it's going to be bumpy. The light has already won. What are you seeing?
Right. And it is. And it's not just October. It's pretty much going to be from here out. Now, what I actually see for the end of the year, I see a lot of families are going to come together, which I believe I shared in the message yesterday, the Archangel Michael message. So he shares with me information that he wants me to communicate, and then I translate it through a little segment, a new series called Archangel Michael. It's Michael Messages is what it is. And through this, we're going to help people see things that they can't quite see. So it's kind of like duck, dodge, and dance. Okay, you're going to duck, you're going to dodge, and you're going to jump and dance, and it's going to ebb and flow and move. So it's going through the mind, the body, and the soul. You're going to be shifting. You're going to be going in that, as people call it, the roller coaster of life, right? The up and the down. So right now we feel like we've all been in this down slope, and now is the time for us to get up. And October's the month right now, this energy that we are in right now. And for a lot of us, it'll be in the month of October, and then there'll be others through the end of the year. But it's this upward push up the hill. We're going to get that momentum. You know what I'm talking about? That at the right moment, at the right time, the energy shifts. And I do believe you do feel energy shifts. You feel them, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. So when we feel the energy shifting, that's when we want to really tune into our intuition and pay attention to what we're hearing, feeling, because that's the forward push. So in October, there's that energy going to shift, but there's also a lot of, crazy stuff going to happen. I mean, it is going to be like a it's going to be like a 20 ring circus out there in the world. It truly, truly is. Yeah. It's crazy, but not in a bad way. It depends on the person. It's all about standing. It's picking what side you're on. It's the divide.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like, are you, pro? Because I would say it's light and dark rather than like a political.
It's like staying in the past, moving into the new. Which way are you going to go? A lot of people won't. I mean, for example, like my mom, she's so stubborn and so traditional in that the way I grew up, all of that holding everybody back into the past has to be this way, and so she probably will not be able to move into the new.
Sure. So I suppose for people listening, the advice is, that's what's really October is about. Are you wanting to move your life forward, or are you wanting to stay in the past? And that for me, the timing couldn't be better, Laurie, because I've just launched my academy, and that's all the people, the 60 souls that are in that are creating their life moving forward. So I suppose practical advice for people listening is, what can you do to move yourself forward and your life forward?
Right. And this is that push, it's almost going to feel like an invisible poof, like somebody's pushing you, nudging you. Some people may even feel a nudge, right?
Yeah.
But when you grab onto it, you have this opportunity of growth. And this is going to grow whoever is in that group.
When you go up the stairs, and like sometimes I do it, my husband's tired and we're going up the stairs and I give him a push. So that's kind of what we're getting, isn't it? Somebody giving us a push in the back.
But it's like an unexplainable, invisible push up. So as we all felt that unexplainable, invisible, oppressed feeling in March and, throughout the following months, right? That oppressed, I can't live, I can't breathe, I'm stuck, which was in the mind. It was all in the mind. That's how powerful our mind is. We equally now are coming out of that. Right. So it's learning the ebb and flow of the ups and downs of life, and learning how to be on the roller coaster and not fall off of it.
Yeah. And tuning into it is what you're saying, and working with it. So how long will that push go on for? Like, obviously we're moving towards Christmas. So usually things kind of go the opposite way.
And I'm seeing it very strongly toward the second 2 weeks of October is very strong. So the closer we get to the 31st, which I'm actually having for the first time ever, I'm having a witch and warlock kind of bash thing online. But it's a psychic development workshop where I give information. And it's a really good night to do it because of the moon, because of the planetary alignment. So that particular moment right there is the blue that they're showing me is going to be like, bam. If you're doing whatever it is you're supposed to do on that day, you're going to be going in an upward moment. So this is for the people who know what direction they're supposed to go, and they are going to take, I don't care if it's, I figured out what I'm supposed to do and I'm supposed to make a YouTube channel. On that day, you open up your YouTube channel. Right. You know what I mean? You take action, some kind of bringing it and actually implanting that into your life. That day is going to be a great day to do it.
And what day is that? Sorry?
Now that could, I do sometimes, I don't listen to that many people because I'm always working, so I do pay attention to what's going on YouTube, but I really want people to understand it's about the high vibration. And when we are stuck in something or someone that hurt us, we can't get up that high. We can't manifest.
We've got too much baggage. The roller coaster. If you look at it like a balloon analogy,
exactly,
you've got all this stuff hanging on the bottom of your balloon, which you need to let go of.
Exactly.
So for people who are doing the work, because a lot of our listeners, they're on their path, they're tuned in, they're uncovering their purpose. So for our listeners that are on what I would call their right path of action, they're going to get another nudge by the sounds of things as well. And then it sounds to me like everything's going to kind of go over the top in a good way, as in, you know, they're going to
Well, don't get me wrong. You're going to go over the top. People are going to be hit. They're going to be hit from this side, from this side. Like here in the U.S., I would imagine a lot of people are going to be hit with, the back. I would think the world back owed debt. That's going to be one. Anybody who has back owed debt, myself included, they're going to come in and they're going to want the back owed debt.
What's
so
that?
It's learning to ebb and flow. It's that duck, dodge, and dance. So it's like I got to duck down and get what I need so that I can dodge over here and drop it off, and then dance away and move back into the high vibration. So whatever you need
what's back owed debt?
Back owed debt,
Yeah,
like when people owe money.
Oh, okay. So if you owe debt, sorry, I
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that was an example. It's like they're going to come calling for their money. That's just an example. So it's like, okay, I got to go back. I got to see, or let's say you had a mistake. Maybe you filed a document that was wrong. Whatever it is, there's going to be like a sense of coming in to fix this, coming in to get that, prove this, prove that. And so it's like duck down and get what you need out of your past, pull it up, dodge it over in the present, drop it off, and you move forward, dance into your future.
Got
so
it.
That's
so it's almost like getting your ducks in a row. So we're going to be called. And it's interesting you say that, because that's what my husband and I are doing right now. So I don't know if we're ahead of the curve, but we're kind of getting all of our financial stuff and kind of all of our, almost like our tax returns. We're kind of getting all that stuff ready now to give clarity. So, and I hate doing that stuff, but it feels necessary, if that makes sense.
I know. I finally broke down, and I have a tax person. They're doing it.
Yeah,
I do a lot of it, but they do the final run, and they represent me, and I have never felt more confident in me to be able to bring that on. I don't want to do that. And the one I had before gave me very poor advice. That I don't feel that way about this one. So it's nice.
So we're being pushed up. We're being pushed up the hill. We've got support. We're also being called to get our lives in order in different areas. But then for those people that are doing the work, I presume there's going to be some type of reward for, being alignment.
And I will say families are going to be reunited. So it's like this big step toward the initial contact, the initial communication. Out of the blue, somebody might get a text message from somebody where there was a lot of love. I'm talking like, the family unit that originally had the love before the parting of the ways, right? So families are going to come back around where I'm hearing misguided and misunderstood situations are going to be exposed. You see, truth is coming out everywhere. So between October, now it actually started already, but through the end of December, a lot of families are going to reconcile. But what I see happening in December is more like people are going to be in their own home, but celebrating more like how you and I are talking right now, family gatherings in that type of a way.
Because I think that is a concern, in our country. So in England, we are only allowed to have 6 people for Christmas, and most of us have got big families where we bring them all together for Christmas, and we're being told, the crazy thing in this country is that you can have 30 people for a funeral, 15 people for a wedding, and only 6 for Christmas. So like the thing that's happening in the UK is people are saying, well, we're going to get a turkey and we're going to have a funeral for the turkey on Christmas Day. And then we're going to invite all of our family, people are it's just crazy.
Well, it's not about it. It's not about the turkey. It's not about the gifts. It's not about even having to be in the same room, but it's about being able to energetically connect with those that you love. So whether it is how you and I are communicating right now, where we really are tapped into each other, or we have been like since we started talking on an energetic level, bringing all that back around, where the past, anything prior to 2020 is pretty much gone. So that past tradition of everybody's got to give gifts, it's not going to be viewed the same as it used to be. It's not about the gifts. It's about the value of the people, the quality of the time that you share with those that you love. And that's what I see really taking place this year in December. For the first time, I feel it's going to be like the true meaning, the true spirit of Christmas.
So actually what people are really going to, because there's been so much commercialization around Christmas and people overeat, it's all about the gifts. It's kind of like it's lost its way. So what you're kind of saying is everybody's going to be brought back to actually traditional values, and it's about the fact that we're family and we want to get together. And I think that has been the thing, in my family, is that we regularly get together and we haven't really been able to. And everyone kind of is like, oh, we really missed each other. We appreciate
I know it's hard. Yeah, we're all over the place. I mean, my family spread all across the US and it's hard.
And are you getting any insights, just quickly, because we're coming up to time, but are you getting, because a lot of people are saying that the big reveal, stuff's going to start to come out in the media, and Hillary Clinton's name's been mentioned about, she'll be the first person to be kind of exposed, and then how March will be a big time where stuff will come to the surface, and the rest of humanity will be effectively red-pilled as such.
Yeah, March of 2021 is our world is already moving right now. As we can see, it's changing, but we can't really see what exactly direction. What are we going to do? And by March of next year, we're going to start hearing about it, absolutely, very heavily in January through March. Something is going to take place in January of 2021. It's right around my birthday. My birthday's on the 28th, and I know it's very significant, and I'd have to actually look to see. I've been seeing it for a while, but not actually look. But what I do see is between March and June, by June of next year, our world's a very different place.
Wow. Oh, Laurie, thank you so
the
much.
Vibration, we hold the power to change the outcome from a negative to a positive by the mass amount of high vibration. So that's why you and I are being guided, as many others, to help lift the planet vibration. We can actually fix it.
Well, exactly. And I think, like we can shift timelines, the more we stay on that high vibration and the more we literally do this work, the quicker we can shift into the golden age, which is where we all want to be. So wonderful. Lori-Ann, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your wisdom. I know I kind of sprung it on you today. You thought we were having a bit of a chat and I was like, oh no, we're going to do the interview. So well done. You did a fantastic job.
I'm so glad I didn't show up in my jammies, right? It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, well, how can people find you?
Oh, ascendingsoulsjourney.com or ascendingsoulsjourneyllc.com. Yeah, and I'm on YouTube, but it's Ascending Souls Journey. That's who I am.
Well, thank you so much. I really loved our conversation. Just the
start. Thank you. I have loved talking to you. You're an absolute delight. I love your program, and I am hooked on you. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Well, let's, this is a start. I love this actually about this time, is that people like us are coming together and connecting, collaborating.
Meeting our real people, people that are on the same page as we are, same level as far as what we believe and feel and so forth. And that's the family. That's the true family.
Well, that's unity consciousness, isn't it? It's about us collaborating, supporting each other, coming together. Like, I really feel that that's why we're all here, to really support each other and show everyone that actually we're stronger together.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's just a pleasure to meet you. And I have loved talking to you for sure.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for listening, everyone. Really appreciate it. Please do comment below. Let me know your thoughts. What are your takeaways? Please go and connect with the lovely Lori-Ann. She's got an incredible YouTube channel. And yes, Laurie, thank you so much. And we will see you with another amazing guest next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group. And also, please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post. And please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.